Hello, dear listener, and welcome to this quiet space we share, as the day gently recedes, and the soft embrace of night begins to gather around us. Tonight, as you prepare to drift into a peaceful slumber, let us softly journey into a world woven from memory, landscape, and the deep currents of a human life, a world vividly brought to the screen in the film Train Dreams. Close your eyes now, if you wish, and let the gentle rhythm of my voice be a soft current, carrying you along. Imagine, for a moment, the vast, silent expanse of the American Northwest, around the turn of the 20th century. Picture the towering, ancient trees, the crisp, clean air, the distant echo of a train whistle, carrying with it stories of passage, of journeys begun and journeys ended. This is the backdrop for the life of Robert Grenier, a man whose quiet existence, spanning 8 long decades, invites us to contemplate the very nature of time, of love, of loss, and the enduring spirit that resides within us all. Robert Grenier, a name that itself feels rooted, solid, like the earth. His story begins with a profound sense of solitude, an orphaned child arriving in the wild, untamed beauty of Bonners Ferry, Idaho, carried there by the very symbol of industrial progress and relentless motion, the Great Northern Railway. Think for a moment about this image. A child, alone, set down in a new place, the rumble of the train fading behind him, leaving him to forge his own path. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, isn't it? Even in the tender years of youth, when direction and purpose often feel elusive, there is an inherent drive to simply be, to observe, to exist within the unfolding present. His early years, we learn, were spent without a clear direction, perhaps like a river finding its course, meandering before settling into a steady flow. But then, as it so often happens in life, a connection forms, a light enters the quiet landscape of his existence. He meets Gladys Olding. And with her, the purpose begins to crystallize. This moment, dear listener, is a universal one. The seeking of connection, the profound human desire to share one's life, to build something tangible and emotional with another. They marry, a simple yet monumental act, and together, they construct a log cabin, not just a dwelling, but a home, a sanctuary, nestled along the Moy River. Imagine the sounds of the river nearby, a constant, soothing lullaby, the scent of fresh-cut timber, the warmth of a hearth in the wilderness. It is here that their daughter, Kate, is born, adding another precious layer to this growing tapestry of life. A family, a small, vibrant world carved out of the vastness. But life, as we know, is a dance between presence and absence, between joy and sorrow, between the steady rhythm and the unexpected jolt. Robert, like many men of his time, takes on arduous work, labor that demands strength, endurance, and often, separation. He finds himself building the Spokane International Railway, an iron artery pushing through the wilderness, connecting places, but also, sometimes, fracturing lives. It is during this time that Robert witnesses something profoundly disturbing, an act of violence that will haunt him for the rest of his days. A Chinese worker thrown from a bridge by a group of white workers for reasons that remain unclear, or perhaps, for reasons that speak to a darker side of human nature, a primal fear or prejudice. This is where the dreams of Train Dreams begin to emerge with chilling clarity. The image of the falling man, the subsequent visions, the recurring dreams of him being struck by a train. Consider, if you will, the intricate workings of our own minds, especially as we drift into sleep. Science tells us that dreams are not merely random flickers of neural activity. They are often our subconscious mind's way of processing, of attempting to integrate experiences, especially those that are traumatic or unresolved. For Robert T., this violent memory becomes an indelible mark, etched into his very being. His brain, even in the quiet of night, replays the scene, perhaps attempting to make sense of the senseless, to find a pattern where there is only chaos. The train, a symbol of progress and forward motion, becomes entangled with this act of profound injustice, a relentless, unstoppable force that can both build and destroy. The philosophical implications here are vast. How do we carry the weight of what we witness? How do moments of injustice shape our inner world? And how does the past, even in our attempts to leave it behind, continue to exert its profound influence, especially in the unguarded space of our dreams? After his time on the railway, Robert turns to seasonal logging, a different kind of labor, equally demanding, equally isolating. This work, while providing for his family, also pulls him away from Gladys and Kate for extended periods. Imagine the quiet ache of absence, the longing for loved ones when you are deep in the woods, surrounded by the monumental scale of nature, but yearning for the small, precious intimacy of home. This rhythm of separation and return, of absence and presence, becomes a subtle but profound theme in his life. In the logging camps, Robert encounters a kaleidoscope of characters, each leaving an impression, each contributing to the rich tapestry of his human experience. He meets men whose stories are etched on their faces, men hardened by labor, softened by camaraderie. But again, tragedy is never far. He witnesses more deaths, more abrupt departures from the fragile thread of life. A worker killed by a vigilante, seeking revenge. Other workers, crushed by a falling tree, their graves marked with the poignant, humble symbol of their trade, pairs of boots nailed to trees. These are not just events, they are profound lessons in the fragility of existence, reminders that life, for all its beauty, can be extinguished in an instant. He grows close to armed peoples, a fellow logger, an explosives expert, a man whose life, like so many others, is inextricably linked to the dangerous work they share. But even this bond is severed by fate when Aaron is severely injured by a falling branch and passes away days later. Each loss, dear listener, deepens the well of Robert's experience, adding layers to his understanding of impermanence, of the preciousness of every shared moment. Our minds, when confronted with such repeated losses, develop complex mechanisms. Some might withdraw, others might become hardened, but for Robert, it seems, each loss carves out a deeper capacity for quiet endurance, for a profound appreciation of what was. The world, meanwhile, continues its relentless march forward. The post-World War I economy brings its own set of challenges, forcing Robert to seek new ways to sustain his family. He and Gladys, with their characteristic resilience and hope, decide on a new path, farming, and building a lumber mill closer to home. The dream is to anchor him, to end the seasonal departures, to keep their family whole and close. It's a testament to hope, isn't it? To the human capacity to adapt, to envision a brighter, more stable future even in the face of hardship. But then, the most profound devastation strikes. Robert returns from his final season of logging, filled with the anticipation of a new beginning, only to find his beloved cabin, their sanctuary, destroyed in a wildfire. And with it, the unbearable, crushing reality: Gladys and Kate are missing. Take a slow, deep breath, and let the weight of this moment settle. Imagine the desolation, the ash-choked air, the silence where laughter and love once resonated. This is the heart of human grief, dear listener, a wound so deep it reshapes the very landscape of one's soul. Scientifically, our brains, when confronted with such sudden, catastrophic loss, go into overdrive. The amygdala, our emotional processing center, is flooded. The prefrontal cortex, responsi, belief for rational thought, struggles to make sense of the incomprehensible. Memories, once comforting, now become agonizing reminders of what has been lost. The absence is not just an empty space, it becomes a palpable presence, a phantom limb of the heart. Philosophically, we confront the ultimate question: how do we go on? How do we find meaning when the very foundations of our world have crumbled? In this abyss of sorrow, Robert finds a quiet solace in the company of his friend, Ignatius Jack, a storekeeper. A simple presence, a shared silence, can often be the most profound comfort. It is in these moments of quiet companionship that the human spirit, battered but not broken, begins its slow, arduous process of healing. And Robert, with a resilience that is almost awe-inspiring, decides to rebuild his cabin. Not just a house, but a monument to memory, a testament to the enduring love he held for Gladys and Kate, a refusal to let the fire, or grief, erase their presence entirely. He rebuilds, brick by metaphorical brick, beam by beam, not to forget, but to remember, to honor, to continue living in the space they once shared. He attempts to return to logging, but the world has changed around him. New technology, younger, rougher men. He feels out of place, a relic of an earlier time. This is a common human experience, isn't it? The relentless march of progress, the feeling of being left behind, the quiet resignation that comes with recognizing that some chapters must close. So Robert stops. He chooses a different path, one that allows him to remain rooted in his familiar world. He takes a job as a carriage driver, moving through the town, observing the lives of others, perhaps finding a quiet purpose in simply facilitating their journeys. It is during this time that he encounters Claire Thompson of the United States Forest Service, a woman who is in town to conduct a survey. There's a subtle connection here, a shared understanding perhaps, as Claire, too, carries her own story of loss, revealing that her husband had died after a long illness. In the sharing of quiet griefs, a different kind of connection forms, not romantic, but deeply human, recognizing the shared vulnerability of life. Claire encourages him, perhaps simply by seeing him, by acknowledging his presence, his quiet strength. Robert, in his profound longing, finds himself continually walking through the woods, the very landscape that both sustained and challenged him throughout his life. He believes he can feel the spirits of his wife and daughter, a whisper in the wind, a rustle in the leaves. He walks gently, hoping not to drive them away, hoping to preserve the ethereal connection he feels. This is a beautiful and poignant illustration of how grief can transform perception. Our minds, in their quest for solace, can create vivid, almost tangible experiences of those we've lost. It's not delusion, but perhaps a deep, yearning wish, a profound psychological mechanism to maintain connection, to keep love alive even in absence. Then, one night, a moment of profound, almost surreal, intensity. Robert believes he sees an injured Kate, his daughter, seemingly return to the cabin. He tends to her wounds, his heart undoubtedly soaring with an impossible hope, then plays with baby Kate by the river, reliving a cherished memory, a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. But this vivid experience, so real, so tangible, dissolves with the dawn. He awakens to find her gone, a window open to the cold reality of her absence. This episode is a powerful exploration of the mind's ability to create, to manifest, to protect itself from unbearable truth. Was it a dream so vivid it blurred the lines of waking reality? A waking vision brought on by intense longing and the mind's desperate need for reunion? Scientifically, our brains can indeed produce vivid hallucinations, especially in states of extreme emotional distress or profound desire. The boundaries between internal reality and external reality can become permeable. Philosophically, it raises questions about the nature of perception itself. What is real? And what does it mean for something to be real if its impact on our emotional world is so utterly profound? Robert, despite the crushing weight of reality, determines to continue living in the cabin, a quiet sentinel, just in case she ever truly returns. It is a testament to unwavering love, to a hope that defies logic, a hope that whispers in the deepest chambers of the human heart. As the years pass, the world around Robert continues its inexorable transformation. He ages, his face weathered by sun and wind and sorrow, a living chronicle of the passage of time. He rides the Great Northern into Spokane, the same railway that brought him as an orphan child, now carrying him through a world increasingly unfamiliar. He witnesses, on a television screen, the historic moment of John Glenn's flight into space. Imagine the contrast: a man whose life has been lived intimately with the earth, with the rhythms of nature, now seeing humanity reach for the stars, a symbol of boundless progress, of the ever-expanding frontiers of human endeavor. It's a powerful juxtaposition of the timeless and the temporal, the rooted and the soaring. The film, and Robert's journey, culminate on a spring day. He decides, with a quiet courage that defines his character, to fly in a biplane. High above the familiar landscape, as the plane loops and circles, a symphony of sights and sounds, of people and places from his long life, begins to pass through his mind. This is the moment, dear listener, where all the threads of his existence, the joys, the sorrows, the losses, the enduring love, begin to weave together into a cohesive whole. Think about this final flight. It's a metaphor, isn't it? A soaring above the mundane, a perspective shift. From this vantage point, the individual moments that once felt so heavy, so separate, now merge into a panoramic view of a life fully lived. This feeling of being connected to it all, as the narrator recounts, is the ultimate resolution. It's a profound spiritual and psychological experience. When we look back on our own lives, especially as we age, there often comes a moment of integration, where the fragmented pieces of our past begin to form a coherent narrative. The pain of loss doesn't disappear, but it becomes integrated into a larger understanding, a wider acceptance. The narrator, Will Patton, whose voice itself carries a weight of wisdom and calm, tells us that Robert died peacefully in his sleep in the cabin in November 1968, leaving no heirs in the traditional sense. But on that spring day in the plane, as he misplaced all sense of up and down, he felt, at last, connected to it all. This misplacing of up and down is a beautiful, almost scientific description of disorientation, yet it leads to a state of profound connection. When our usual anchors of perception are released, when the brain shifts its focus from the immediate to the expansive, there's an opportunity for a different kind of awareness to emerge. Perhaps it's a feeling of merging with the vastness of existence, a dissolution of the individual self into the universal. Philosophically, this echoes concepts of oneness, of the interconnectedness of all things, a sense of belonging not just to a family or a place, but to the grand, unfolding story of life itself. It is a feeling of peace, of coming home, not just to a physical place, but to a profound acceptance of one's own journey, with all its complexities and contradictions. And so, dear listener, as you prepare to cross the threshold into your own dreams, consider Robert Grainier's life, a testament to the quiet power of endurance, to the unwavering strength of love, and to the profound beauty of a life lived intimately with both joy and sorrow. His story reminds us that even in the face of profound loss, the human spirit can find ways to heal, to connect, and ultimately, to find peace within the grand tapestry of existence. Let these gentle reflections guide you now. Feel the soft weight of your eyelids, the slow, steady rhythm of your breath. The day is done. The stories are told. All that remains is the quiet comfort of the present moment, as you drift deeper and deeper into the tranquil waters of sleep. May your own dreams be peaceful, and may you, too, feel connected to it all. Good night.